Peace be upon you, and welcome to episode 8 of the book Nazraya Rang-o-Noor on your own channel, Melody of Divine. And for all of you, a lot of prayers from the core of our heart.
Yes, absolutely. So many prayers for everyone tuning in today.
And just a quick housekeeping reminder before we really get going. You'll find a link to our WhatsApp channel in the description below.
Right. Definitely subscribe to that.
Yeah, please subscribe to it. So important messages can reach you instantly. There's so many things that, need to be communicated right away, and that's the best place for it.
It really is. It keeps us all connected.
Exactly. So today we are understanding the next chapters provided by Hazrat Khawaja Shamsuddin Azeemi in his book. And I want to list the important topics we are covering today before we begin.
Oh, these topics are they are incredible.
They really are. We'll be looking at the I, which is Ankh, then the breath, Sans, and finally, the conscience, or Zamir. Let's start now.
I am so ready for this deep dive. Because, the material we have ahead of us today, it really pushes us to just dismantle everything we think we know.
Right. It completely rebuilds how we interact with reality.
Yeah, I mean, we are so used to trusting what we can physically touch and see. But these sources demand that we look at the invisible architecture underneath all of it.
They really do. And the text just starts dismantling our assumptions right out of the gate with this brilliant analogy. It's about internal versus external life.
Oh, the thirst analogy, subhanAllah, that part is so powerful.
Yes, exactly. Because usually we think of our physical movements as life, like getting up, walking around, eating. But the author argues that all of that is just surface packaging.
It's just the shell.
Right. So he uses this example. Think about thirst and water. Thirst is the unseen soul. It's the internal life.
And water is just the physical form, the external body.
Exactly. And without that unseen internal feeling of thirst, a glass of water completely loses its meaning.
It really is a perfect mechanism to explain reality because it just flips our usual hierarchy of importance completely upside down.
Yeah, we totally prioritize the water.
We do. We are conditioned to prioritize what we can measure, right? The water. But this analogy insists that the visible world only exists to serve the invisible world.
The invisible creates the value.
Exactly. The water only matters because the invisible feeling of thirst is demanding a solution. If you somehow deleted the sensation of thirst from existence...
Which would be crazy to imagine.
Right, but if you did, water would cease to exist as a life-giving concept. It would just be this meaningless, inert substance sitting there.
Wow. So the invisible is what actually gives the visible its entire purpose.
Yes, and it is so easy to mistake the packaging for the actual product.
It really is. And what's fascinating is how the text scales this up. It takes this relationship between the unseen internal and the seen external and applies it to the very fabric of the cosmos.
To space and time.
Yes, space and time.
Yeah.
Which in Urdu, they refer to space as Makan and time as Zaman.
Zaman and Makan. It's such a profound pairing in spiritual philosophy.
But, how exactly does this philosophy map these massive cosmic concepts onto just a normal human life?
Well, it maps them by dividing our existence into two distinct parallel tracks. The first track is our physical features and our physical growth.
Okay.
That is space. That is Makan. And the second track is the unseen, continuous flow of progression itself.
But progression, so that would be time or Zaman.
Exactly. Think about observing a person over, say, 60 or 70 years. What are you actually seeing with your eyes?
You see them getting taller, then you see wrinkles form.
Right. Their bones become fragile, their hair turns gray. You are witnessing the manipulation of physical dimensions.
So you're just watching changes in space.
Yes, that is entirely Makan. You are watching space change.
Okay, let's unpack this because, to use an analogy, isn't that just like looking at a flip book?
Oh, a flip book. Yeah, that is a phenomenal way to put it.
Right, because when you watch a flip book, you see the drawings changing on the pages. That's space.
Yeah.
But we totally ignore the thumb that is actually flipping the pages, providing that hidden engine of motion.
MashaAllah, yes. The changing drawings are Makan. They are space. The thumb providing that invisible, steady current of motion is Zaman. It is time.
And you don't actually see the motion itself, just the result of it.
Exactly. You cannot actually see the flow of time itself with your physical eyes. The hidden current carrying that person from childhood to old age remains entirely invisible.
Wow.
So the side of life that is shrinking, growing, and aging in front of your eyes, that is space. But the invisible dimension in which all of this occurs, the actual continuous flow of existence, is time.
Which brings us to this major aha moment in the text. I was floored by this. It states that time is what connects every individual in the universe.
Yes.
But space is what separates them into different species. Space divides the sheep from the monkeys and the monkeys from the humans. Space is division. Time is connection.
That is the core philosophical pillar we really need to grasp today. Because in the realm of space meaning physical form, dimensions, biology, we are all strictly isolated.
Right, like I am me and you are you.
Exactly. A mouse is bound by the physical limitations of a mouse's body. A human is bound by a human's body. But in the realm of time, the underlying energy and continuous flow of life, everything is participating in the exact same current.
Because life force doesn't have a shape.
Precisely. The life force itself doesn't have a specific shape, so it connects everything seamlessly.
Okay, I hear that, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go for it.
If time connects us all in this seamless web, how do we explain massive physical distances? The text uses the sun as an example, and the sun is, what, 93 million miles away?
Yes, 93 million miles.
That isn't just a philosophical separation. That is a literal physical barrier in space. How does time bridge that?
It bridges it instantly, and the author uses the mechanics of human sight, Ankh, to prove it.
Oh, right, the chapter on the eye.
Yes. So the sun is 93 million miles away. That vast, isolating distance is space. That is Makan.
It's just a giant void.
But when you tilt your head back and look up at the sky, and obviously you shouldn't stare directly at the sun, your sight reaches it in an absolute instant.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's no delay.
None. You don't have to wait for your visual connection to slowly travel across 93 million miles of empty void. Your connection to the light is immediate, and you don't go blind just because the source is far away.
SubhanAllah. The visual connection happens in a flash.
Exactly. This demonstrates that when we connect through the dimension of time, physical distance, Makan, simply vanishes.
Okay, that makes perfect sense for light and sight. But what about a biological connection?
Yeah.
Like, we don't just stare at things. We interact with the physical world constantly.
The text provides a very grounded biological example for that as well, using hunger.
Right, the internal drive.
Think about the drive to eat. A goat feels hunger. A pigeon feels hunger. A human feels hunger. That feeling of hunger, that unseen internal biological drive, is shared by all creatures.
Oh, I see where this is going.
That shared universal experience is time. It connects every living thing.
But the specific food we eat is different.
Exactly. The physical solution to that hunger is what separates us. Grass for the goat, seeds for the pigeon, a cooked meal for the human. The specific form the solution takes is space.
So hunger is time, but the food is space.
You've got it.
Wow. Okay, so if we are constantly navigating this tension, the shared unseen world of time and the highly divided physical world of space, what is the actual engine moving us between them?
That is where the next chapter comes in. The breath, sans.
Right. And the text points to a literal bridge here, and it introduces this fascinating formula. It says, light equals space plus existence, which results in movement.
Yes, a very profound spiritual equation.
I'll be honest, though, my brain totally stalled out when I read that.
Yeah.
How exactly does existence plus space equal movement mechanically?
It requires us to break down the variables of that equation. So think of space as an empty void, a canvas.
Okay, a blank canvas.
And think of existence as the blueprint, the potential for something to actually be there. Now, if you have a blueprint and a canvas, nothing happens on its own.
They just sit there.
Right. There is no interaction. Light is the active divine catalyst. When light is introduced, it forces existence, the blueprint, to engage with space, the canvas.
And that engagement creates friction.
Yes, that active friction, that engagement is movement. And the author is very clear, this isn't just about physical walking or running.
So it's an internal movement,
Yeah.
like the friction between our inner states.
Exactly. It's a continuous internal push and pull between two opposing forces inside every single human being. The text categorizes these as the angelic trait and the human trait.
The Malakooti and the Bashri.
Yes, beautifully said. The Malakooti, the angelic trait, is the invisible tether pulling you upward. It pulls you toward the creator, toward unity, and toward that unseen reality of time.
And the other side.
The Bashri, the human trait, is the dense force pushing you outward, toward the external physical world, toward survival, physical needs, and the gravity of space.
I mean, obviously, we need the human trait to survive, right? We have to eat, pay bills, and navigate the physical world.
Absolutely, it's necessary.
But the text seems to warn about a very specific danger when these two traits fall out of balance.
The danger is getting entirely consumed by the physical. When your entire focus shifts to the Bashri, the physical trait, you begin to sever your connection to the angelic light.
It just fades away.
Right. The more obsessed you become with dominating or surviving in physical space, the further you drift from the unseen reality. You lose your sensitivity to it entirely.
To really drive this point home, the source integrates a very powerful verse from the Quran.
Yes. The Quran speaks directly to this reality, and surely God has set a seal upon their hearts and upon their hearing, and over their vision is a veil, and for them is a great punishment. That is Surah Baqarah, verse 7.
SubhanAllah. When you interpret that verse through the mechanics we are discussing, it's not just a poetic metaphor.
Not at all.
The sealing of the heart and the veil over the eyes means a literal loss of perception. You lose the ability to perceive the angelic realm entirely.
Yes, you become spiritually blind because you've entirely anchored your consciousness to the physical world.
So the great punishment isn't just fire and brimstone. It's the deprivation of your own angelic attribute.
Precisely. You become cut off from your own spiritual origin, and you get trapped in the physical.
And, this totally reframes the story of Adam and Eve for me. I'd never considered it this way before.
Oh, the interpretation of Adam's fall here is incredible.
Right, because I've heard the story of the fall of Adam my entire life, and it's almost always framed as a simple legal infraction. Like, you break a rule, you eat a fruit, you get kicked out of the garden.
A very surface-level reading, yeah.
But this text suggests it was actually a cosmic shift in focus.
It was a shift in consciousness. God told Adam to dwell in the garden and eat freely, but not to approach a specific tree. In this philosophical framework, the garden represents the realm of absolute light, the angelic realm, where Adam was perfectly balanced.
But when he disobeyed, he shifted his focus away from the light and toward his physical desire.
Yes. And the text says that this loss of balance trapped him in the density and gravity of space. It actually uses the word gravity.
Gravity. That is the perfect way to understand it.
It really is. When Adam's connection to the divine light was momentarily severed by his focus on physical desire, he became entirely encased in his human physical shell.
Felt the weight.
He suddenly became subject to the immense gravity and density of the lower physical world.
Which totally explains why he suddenly felt naked.
Exactly.
It wasn't just physical modesty. It was this sudden crushing awareness of his own physical density.
Yeah.
He felt the weight of space pulling him down, whereas before, he was living freely in the fluid, weightless connection of time.
Allah. It is a brilliant psychological and spiritual interpretation. The fall wasn't just a geographic change in location, it was a descent into density.
He fell into gravity.
Adam was pulled into the gravitational field of the physical world because his focus shifted.
So if we fast forward to today, I think everyone listening can relate to feeling that gravity.
Oh, absolutely.
Modern life, the stress of work, the endless news cycles, the physical demands, it just feels incredibly dense. So how does someone actually escape this gravity and reconnect with that unseen angelic trait?
The text provides a very clear mechanical methodology for this, and it centers on the concept of conscience, or zamir.
The third topic for today.
Yes. It introduces the practice of Muraqba, which is a form of deep meditation, specifically focused on slowing the physical breath.
Slowing the breath to escape the gravity of the physical body. How does that actually work?
Well, the text uses the analogy of sleep. Think about what happens when you go to bed.
Okay, I lie down, I close my eyes.
Your physical body is resting. It is entirely bound by space, gravity, and time. It's heavy. But in your dreams, you can fly. You can travel across the globe in an instant. You interact with people who aren't physically there. In sleep, you are completely detached from your physical limitations.
So in sleep, we are essentially entering the unseen world, the world of time.
Exactly. But sleep is an unconscious process. Muraqaba is about achieving that exact same detachment from the physical body, but while you are fully conscious and awake.
Wow. And the mechanical bridge to achieve that is the breath.
Yes, sans. By consciously slowing the breath, you begin to quiet the physical demands of the body. You are intentionally making the physical body unfelt.
The text outlines very specific practical steps for this inner purification too. It's not just, sit down and breathe.
Right, there is a discipline to it.
It instructs the practitioner to sit in a quiet, dark place where the temperature is entirely neutral. So the skin isn't distracted by being too hot or too cold.
You eliminate the sensory input.
Yeah. And then you take deep, controlled breaths to create a pause in your biological rhythm. You must maintain pure thoughts. You should work hard in your daily life, but without obsessing over the results.
Leaving the final outcome to a higher power.
Exactly. And perhaps most surprisingly, it emphasizes forgiving others.
Ah, yes. That last point about forgiveness is absolutely crucial to the mechanics of this practice.
I really want to push on that because it stood out to me. Why is a moral concept, like forgiving others, listed alongside mechanical steps like sitting in a dark room and taking deep breaths?
It seems out of place at first, doesn't it?
It does. What does forgiveness have to do with escaping gravity?
If we remember the concept of density, it actually makes perfect mechanical sense.
Okay, how so?
Think about holding on to a grudge, harboring deep resentment, or feeling chronic anger towards someone. These are incredibly dense, heavy emotional states.
They really do feel heavy in the chest.
They do. They tie your consciousness entirely to the physical world, to the past physical actions of another human being in space. Oh, wow. It's like trying to launch a hot air balloon but stubbornly refusing to untie the sandbags.
That is exactly it. Grudges are spiritual sandbags. You cannot ascend to a lighter, unseen realm of time if you are dragging the heavy chains of physical resentment with you.
That is so profound.
Forgiveness in this specific context isn't just about being a good person. It is a mechanical necessity for spiritual elevation. You literally have to drop the weight to escape the gravity.
That reframes forgiveness entirely. It's not for the other person. It's for your own aerodynamics.
Mashallah, yeah.
And this ties perfectly into a visual diagram the text provides called the source of information. It offers a radical way to look at how human consciousness operates.
The source of information diagram is essential for tying all of these cosmic concepts together. It visualizes this incredible idea that every urge, every desire, every thought you have isn't actually originating in the physical tissue of your brain.
Wait, so the brain is just the receiver? Yes. The diagram refers to every urge as an information, or itla, that lands on the brain after descending from a higher, unseen source.
So the signal comes from outside.
Right. The brain simply processes the signal, and the diagram shows two distinct cycles of how we can choose to process this incoming information.
Okay, what are they?
Descent, which is nuzul, and ascent, which is saud.
Let's break down those two cycles. What does it look like when information is processed in descent, or nuzul?
Descent is when you receive that unseen urge, but you process it entirely through your human traits, through your Bashri traits.
So through physical desires and ego.
Yes. You are acting on the information while heavily tied to your physical flesh. You are reacting under the heavy gravity of the physical world.
If I can use a tech analogy here, nuzul, or descent, feels like trying to run a massive, complex, high-resolution file on a clunky, outdated hard drive.
That is a great modern translation of the concept.
Right, because you're forcing this higher information through the heavy gravity of the physical flesh, and the system just chugs and overheats. It's totally inefficient.
The hardware limits the software.
Exactly. So what is ascent, or suud?
Descent is when you process that exact same incoming information, but free from the dominance of the physical flesh.
Okay.
This happens in states of spiritual elevation, like the deep detachment achieved in Muraqba. Your angelic traits, your Malakooti traits are guiding your response instead of your ego.
To continue the tech analogy, ascent is like streaming that same massive file over a lightning-fast, invisible Wi-Fi network.
Yes.
You're processing the urge free from the friction of the physical hard drive, utilizing your angelic traits instead.
Exactly. The entire goal of all these practices, the slowed breathing, the dropping of resentments, the meditation, is to upgrade your processing system.
To go from the hard drive to the Wi-Fi.
To shift from descent to ascent. To stop reacting like dense physical machines and start responding from our unseen spiritual core.
And the text offers a beautiful final analogy for what this awakening conscience, this Zamir, actually feels like over time.
It compares the spiritual student to a newborn baby.
Right. It is a process of gradually expanding awareness. Because when a baby is born, it doesn't understand the vast world it has entered.
Not at all. At first, its reality is limited to recognizing the scent of its mother.
That's its whole universe.
Yes. Then, slowly, it begins to recognize the faces of its immediate family. Then, its extended relatives. And eventually, over years, its consciousness expands to understand the complexities of the whole world.
The text says that the spiritual student uses these practices to undergo a similar, gradual awakening. At first, this unseen inner world of time and light feels strange. It's unknown and difficult to access.
It feels like fumbling in the dark.
But slowly, with practice, you begin to recognize it. You become acquainted with the unseen reality, just as a baby becomes acquainted with his family.
And the ultimate goal of this deep dive into the self is that the unseen world, the Ghaib, stops being a mystery. It becomes a witnessed, undeniable reality.
Which the text calls shahud.
Yes. The invisible becomes just as real and just as navigable as the physical room you are sitting in right now.
Subhanallah.
We stop being trapped by the physical gravity of space, and we learn to navigate the infinite connection of time.
It is a phenomenal, empowering way to look at the human experience.
Yeah.
It turns every single breath, every fleeting thought, into a potential moment of cosmic connection.
It really changes everything.
It does. Which brings us to the end of our deep dive today. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to mull over. If every urge and desire you feel is actually a piece of information descending from a higher source to be processed and recorded, what kind of information are you choosing to act on today?
Are your daily actions pulling you down into the dense gravity of the physical world, or are they helping you ascend?
Please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and definitely let us know in the comments where you are watching this podcast from. Be sure to subscribe to our WhatsApp channel in the description so important messages can reach you instantly. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the whole podcast. We hope this has created a passion and quest within you to learn something new. If you haven't subscribed to the Melody of Divine channel yet, please do like the video and forward it to those whom you think are interested in listening to spiritual content that teaches and nourishes you. And if you haven't watched or listened to the reading session, Lohul Kalam podcast, you must go to the playlist and listen to it. With many prayers, Allah Hafiz to all.